This video continues to introduce the operation of the reflow soldering machine. Switch English language. The main settings we need are in this location. Here, saving data, adding configuration, and deleting configuration are all set here. This is to set the selected program to the current. You can also add a program configuration. Let's switch to Chinese to provide you with a detailed walkthrough. Please follow along and perform the steps as shown on the screen. We switch to Chinese. Reopen this window. Suppose we add a new program configuration. Click this to add the program configuration. Here we enter a name for the new program. Suppose the program name is 111. Then modify the parameters here. Suppose it needs to be set to 180 degrees. Suppose the sixth temperature zone is set to 235 degrees. Other temperate regions are the same. Check if the basic settings need to be modified. This is the frequency of the fan blowing in the upper temperature zone, set to 42. The lower fan frequency is set to 38. This is the conveying speed of the PCB in reflow soldering. It can also be debugged. We set the PCB conveying speed to 0.8, then set the machine over temperature alarm. If the temperature zone changes greatly beyond the set range, the machine will alarm and the current temperature is more than 10 degrees. After modification, click Save and click Close. The name of the program we are running on the software now is 3. Open Edit Configuration. Now the machine is running. The program name is 3. We choose the program name we just set 111. Double-click the program name to switch to the current program, or click Select as Current below. Click Yes and click Save. After clicking Close, the program currently used by the machine is called 111. For this program, I only changed the two upper temperature zones and did not set the upper and lower temperature zones the same. If you want to set the temperature zone above and below to be the same, we open Edit. Click to set the upper and lower temperature zones to the same temperature. When setting any parameters, you must first click Save and then click Close. These two lines represent the temperature parameter settings for the upper and lower temperature zones. Basic settings include air supply speed, PCB conveying speed. This is the drop detection function in PCB conveying. This detects whether the PCB board has become jammed during transfer. He calculates whether the PCB entry and exit time is abnormal. PCB board drop detection function. This function calculates the time it takes for a PCB board to enter the machine and whether it leaves the machine within a specified time. If it fails to leave the machine within the specified time, it indicates that the PCB board has been dropped. If the PCB cannot be conveyed during transport, it means the PCB is stuck in the machine. Alternatively, the inlet and outlet sensors may continuously display a PCB. This is the over temperature or low temperature alarm settings of the machine. If it exceeds the range, the machine will alarm. We click Settings. In the System Settings, here are some general function settings. In the System Settings, here are some general function settings. This is the PCB board drop detection function. Open the lid to detect. This is an option function. This machine does not have it. Segmented heating mode. This parameter must not be modified. Modifying this parameter may damage the circuit. Because the machine has 8 heating zones on the top and 8 on the bottom, segmented heating means that each zone is heated one by one. This requires segmented heating, so only one can be selected for this parameter, and it is forbidden to modify the parameter. This parameter is prohibited from being modified, and only parameter 1 can be set. This is the shutdown cooldown time, which is 30 minutes by default. The machine will automatically shut down after 30 minutes. If this fails, stop heating immediately. Press emergency stop, and the machine stops supplying air. Power outage protection. If the power is cut off, the UPS will intervene. This is a buzzer. This is the function of dripping oil lubricating chain. Other parameters are prohibited from being modified. This modification is prohibited, it must be in pass-through mode. This is to deal with different heating methods, and PCB products choose the through mode. If you select a different mode, the PCB conveyor will stop once the conveying process is completed. After a brief pause, it will resume conveying. If you choose another mode, it will burn out your PCB products. Be sure to choose the pass-through mode. This is a furnace temperature test to check the temperature in the reflow furnace. We will give away 3 test lines in the toolbox for testing the temperature in the furnace. One end of these 3 wires connects to the machine, while the other end connects to the pads on the PCB. Once ready, connect the machine using 3 test leads. Then, place the PCB at the entrance of the reflow oven and click Start. The 3 test lines are placed in the toolbox. This end of the test line must be pasted onto the PCB pad to test the temperature of the solder paste on the pad. This is to check the temperature of the solder paste PCB pad. The yellow plug at the other end of the test wire is connected to the machine. Connect the yellow plug to the machine like this. After the plug is connected to the machine, you click Start and place the PCB at the reflow inlet. Be sure to click Start before the machine starts to detect the temperature. You can see right here that there are 3 wires, 1 that we are plugging into the machine, and 2 that are not connected to the test wires. You see the curve which measures the current temperature in real time. Since only 1 test line is connected, only 1 curve is displayed here. In actual production, we need to align these 3 curves with the requirements for solder paste welding. The curve detected by the machine needs to be the same as the curve soldered by the solder paste on the PCB. This test cable is connected together, don't break it. If it is disconnected, it will be difficult to connect together. This test line is mainly used to detect the temperature of PCB circuit board pads. When the PCB is delivered to the outlet, we click Stop Test. After stopping, we save the curve file as a picture or PDF file. What method do you need to save? You can choose here. Select the path and choose the location you want to save. You name the file. Suppose the name is 1111. Click Save. If we need to check the temperature of the previous test, we can directly open the curve at that time. We opened the name that was saved at that time, equivalent to the temperature recorded in the test furnace before opening. We set the heating temperature of each temperature zone of reflow soldering according to what requirements or rules. The settings for each temperature zone within the machine are configured in accordance with the specific process requirements for soldering PCBs using solder paste. Why is it necessary to monitor the temperature inside a reflow oven? We need to verify whether the actual temperature profile within the oven aligns with the specific profile requirements of the solder being used. If the oven's temperature profile matches the solder's requirements, it indicates that the solder can effectively bond to the PCB. If the 2 curves do not match, we must adjust the set temperature for each thermal zone, the airflow velocity, and the PCB conveyor speed. By modifying these parameters, we can ensure that the test profile aligns with the profile requirements of the solder. We set several commonly used solder paste heating temperatures for your reference. The heating temperature inside the oven must still be based on the solder paste profile. Let's set the heating temperature settings for each temperature zone of lead-free solder. You can set according to this temperature. Let's set the heating temperature for each temperature zone. When the temperature is set, we click on the upper and lower temperature zones with the same temperature. We named this program configuration, and we named it lead-free tin. We named this program after a Chinese name. Lead-free solder paste. Adjust the airflow speed within the reflow oven. Adjust the PCB conveyor speed for reflow soldering. We enter the parameters manually. The PCB conveying speed is 0.7. We click Save Data. This is the parameter setting parameter of lead-free solder paste. You can refer to it. Next we set the parameters of a lead solder paste. If you don't have a furnace temperature tester or a test line, your solder paste has lead, and your machine is also in 8 temperature zones up and down, you can set it according to this parameter. Follow the video to set the heating temperature for each temperature zone. When the heating temperature, air supply speed, and PCB conveying speed of each temperature zone are set, we click Save Data. Then rename the program, set to lead solder paste. We also set a heating temperature for the red glue. Because some products are not used for solder paste soldering, but for fixing rainbow glue to the PCB. Once the upper temperature zone settings are complete, click Set Temperatures for all upper and lower zones to be identical. Then, set the airflow speed and PCB transport speed. Then click Save Data. Then rename the program. Then click Save Modifications. We can replicate lead-free solder paste and rename it medium temperature lead solder paste. Since medium temperature lead solder paste is the same soldering temperature as lead-free solder paste, their procedures can be used together. Because some customers require that lead solder paste and lead-free solder paste cannot be used on the same machine, we renamed this leaded solder paste program medium temperature lead-free solder paste. Because the medium temperature lead-free solder paste and lead solder paste, their soldering temperature is the same. One more very important thing is that this program is prohibited from being deleted. If these programs are all deleted, the software of this machine will be broken. If all programs are deleted and the machine has no configuration parameters, the software cannot be used. This is very important. Do not delete this program. You can add many programs, but this program prohibits deletion. We add a medium temperature lead-free solder paste to the program. Add a medium temperature lead-free solder paste to the program. Medium temperature lead-free solder paste and lead solder paste are the same temperature. In order to distinguish, I changed some parameters. These solder pastes are roughly divided into these categories, and we renamed the lead-free solder pastes as high-temperature lead-free solder pastes. Solder paste is divided into high-temperature lead-free solder paste, medium-temperature lead-free solder paste, lead solder paste. There is also a red glue furnace temperature, which is probably all these procedures. If you don't understand anything, feel free to contact us. Contact information www.jhimes.com.